Alright guys, how's it going? This is Mr. Extra here from Team Extra. I figured I'd go ahead and give you guys a pros and cons for Therion Sky Striker from my last couple weeks of play testing it. So there's a lot of pros, but there's also a good amount of cons, right? So the first thing I noticed, the pros is, when you're doing Therion Sky Striker, clearly it's like you're playing Sky Striker, but you have an extra negate and then a semi-busted field spell, which is pretty good. It'll help you in most cases, help you get around stuff, and then Therion King Regulus is a Omni negate, which is pretty good. Then you can essentially bring him back to your hand with the field spell, or search him with the field spell, which again, this is really good. So it makes controlling tempo of the game easier, a little bit easier, right? But yeah. So your grind game is a little bit better with it. But let's go into the cons because there's more cons than pros here. This really depends on what your matchup is. So the biggest issues I had with it. First things first. Playing against Despia. Sky Striker by itself does not do well against Despia because Despia is the number one deck in the format right now. It's the meta changer. And if someone's playing the no fun Despia variant, which is like patchwork, all the extra stuff, you're gonna go first. They're gonna go second. They're gonna win, depending on unless you have an obscene amount of spells. But Despia is just notorious for cycling and moving resources around like they get paid to do it. So basically, my matchups against Despia have been like, hey, here's King Regulus, and like, okay, let's get rid of the negate and keep playing. So with King Regulus, I was able to make plays that stop it to an extent, but Despia is still usually able to just break through and OTK for Striker no matter how good the board is unless you're sitting on mine. So there's one issue. My next issue with the Therion Sky Striker variant, or at least the one I was trying to go with that I've been tweaking for the last since Dimension Force came out, was that all they would do is they just bait the negate, and having one negate didn't exactly change how strikers play altogether. It gave you some little power moves, right? Like you can stop a brand fusion, stuff like that, but the problem was the same thing. You play against a deck that's trying to set up a fat board and kill you early. Most of the time you're going to lose if you can't break their board, especially going second in Sky Striker. It's doable. But if they flip over something like, let's just say, Anti-Spell Fragrance, you're gonna have to set pass, which is unfortunate because that did happen in one of my duels, where dude flipped it over twice for both rounds, and I couldn't do anything. And then on end phase of each round, he would each turn he would pop my set stuff that I just set to try to get rid of the Anti-Spell Fragrance, because Anti-Spell Fragrance says you have to set stuff and you can't use the stuff you set until it comes back to your turn. That's gross. Well, the spells anyways. But the Therion Sky Striker did good in like other matchups. Like it does good against Pendulum, ironically enough, because they'd play out, but that would always end up on a Dark Ruler. Plus, we're in a format where people aren't afraid of nib anymore, so that's good because I nibbed a lot of people yesterday. But initially, the consistency is still pretty good for Therion Sky Striker, but it's the same issue that most Striker players run into. You have to control the tempo very early of the game very early. You got to put up something like mine, something like that. And if not, you get ran down. And especially at Despia, when you get ran down, you're dead. Despia is just a real good example. Despia, Earth Machine, any of those going first OTKs or where they go second and then they set a whole board and kill you. Heroes to an extent, but again, it just depends on the matchup and the player, obviously. But my main issue I kept running into is one negate did not change how strikers really played. So I would run into the same issue where they would just bait the negate early, right? And yeah, bait the negate, blow your field, kill you that same turn. But there are definitely some pros. Well, not really. I went through the pros already. It's just that it gives you more tempo control. You're able to do slightly more stuff. You're able to throw a negate on the board, which is pretty good. It's not bad. It's good. But I don't think the Therion build for Sky Strikers works very well unless you add a bigger package or something. Like, I don't know. Either add Therion Duke, maybe. Add Therion Reaper, maybe. It really depends on how vested on the Therion side you want to go, which will take away from spells that you need to put in the graveyard to utilize your Sky Striker. Now, do have a recommendation though. So, Power of the Elements is coming out in August, right? There is a archetype called Mr. Rune that is coming out in August with that. When that comes out, Sky Striker is going to become the meta changer. It's going to be up there. It's either meta changer or it's going to move from tier 1.5 to tier 1. Okay? Because this archetype is basically a bunch of spell cards that make your opponent banish stuff on top of their deck. It's disgusting. You'll see what I'm talking about. But that's it for the recap. For the what is it? The Therion Sky Striker. The pros, the cons. I'm sure you all hear my phone. But there's more cons than pros. It does definitely put a nice little taste in for Sky Striker. Gives you a nice little mix-up, but at the end of the day, like, you're playing Sky Striker still. You still have to control the game. You're not going to one-turn someone, and we're in a format where that is definitely the move. So, that's all I got for you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Expect the local videos to be uploaded today or tomorrow. I've been slowly working on it. Should be one up shortly after this video. Well, the rest of them should be coming up today. And then I drop some live duels, and then I might go do some duel night. Well, duel night, I'm going to be playing something else. Going to put the Sky Strikers up for a little bit. I'm working on a couple other builds. I'm messing with like the actual Therion archetype itself, not like just King Regulus. Once I get my Lily Boras, basically. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. So hopefully this recap was, for pros and cons for Therion Sky Striker build, was useful to you. I did my research, I did my play testing with it, and yeah, to each their own. Would I keep doing it? King Regulus, yeah, and Sky Striker with it? No, probably not. It doesn't, unless you're playing it casually. It doesn't fight the current meta very well. But if you need other recommendations, Therion Punk, Therion Brave, you know, there's lots of options out there. But thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, you know, the usual stuff. And thanks.